Sometimes I get the feeling where I want to draw something, but I don't exactly know what, so I do what I do best and put my pencil to the paper and start drawing until I'm satisfied with what I got on the page. So hi everyone, I'm Ward, and welcome to my channel Wardrawsalot, and this week we're gonna kind of just fill out the sketchbook spread with this Maid guy that I started drawing. I didn't know what I was going to be doing at first when I started drawing, but I know I wanted it to be an entire sketchbook spread, especially because it's been a little bit, I feel, since I've used my markers, and I was really missing them, and I feel like truly, because markers are my main medium, I get to express myself very articulately, if that's even the right word to use in this context, for my art, and I just feel so comfortable and so inspiring, and not inspiring, inspired. I feel so inspired when I use them, so I was really just, I want to have fun more than anything, especially because it was a really long week, and I was like, you know what, let's just do what I like and just draw and color with nothing else behind that. I guess to a degree you could call it some self-indulgent art, right? And the reason being is that I'm being very generous and kind with myself when it comes to drawing and not thinking too hard or putting so much into it that I have to go above and beyond. Instead, I am just sitting there drawing what I want, which is a big beefy boy, and and drawing it in any context that I like, and you know, just kind of having a chill time with it. So I guess you could call this a self-indulgent sketchbook spread, which actually kind of sounds like a good title. I should remember that when I'm when I'm writing up everything for the video later. But also, just because something is self-indulgent doesn't mean that it can't spark that nice creativity and inspiration that we all kind of look forward to when we draw, right? Because sometimes I think there's too much of a thought process behind art. In all honesty, sometimes it should be just simple down to just do it, just draw. I feel like a lot of the time, especially for me, maybe for you guys too, that the thinking beforehand really kind of puts a stop to the drawing process. And what do I mean by that is, like, let's say you're like, okay, today I'm gonna draw, and you take your pencil, your pen, or your like digital pencil for iPad, and you got it to the paper or the iPad or like tablet, whatever, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna draw, and you sit there and you're like, damn, I don't know what to draw. So it's like you sit there for a minute and you're like, okay, how about this or this, and it's a yes or a no, and it's an entire back and forth with yourself until, you know, you basically either do draw something but it's not as great because it's not something you wanted to do, or you just don't end up drawing anything at all, which I've had happen many times where I've sat there for a good 10-15 minutes up until hours and it's in front of me and I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing nothing. So like, the thought process sometimes for me, I like to completely shut off and just start drawing something, and that's exactly what I did for this sketchbook spread, and I'm so glad I did because it ended up being a drawing that I really like. This whole spread is really cute to me, and I just like the entire concept and idea. I even created his character along the way, and it just felt so much more fun to do than trying to come up with a character in the first place and, you know, describing the story. It kind of was like the opposite, where I draw the character and fill in the gaps instead there, which, you know, I had a lot of fun with, and I suggest other other people do too. So yeah. Now granted, just because I didn't think of the thought process from the start, it doesn't mean that along the way there wasn't some thinking involved. In other words, the character design and the character themselves and how it all kind of plays in together and what kind of story I make for them. So let us discuss the thought process behind no thought process, which is when I put my hand down to the paper and I started drawing, and I kind of began with the head and then the body form, and I started drawing the tray, and then I was like, something is sparking. That's when I was like, okay, let's do a kind of Maid Café character, and I knew that I would have to draw a Maid outfit more than anything, right? Because, you know, that's the whole point of a Maid Café, I almost said employee. Oh my god. Employee. A Maid Café employee. Okay, they're obviously we're gonna wear that outfit. So I went to Google Images, and I'm gonna show you what I kind of sifted through to decide on what final outfit I wanted for him. Okay, so first I saw this when I looked up. I literally went on Google and was like, maid outfit, boom. And I saw this one, I was like, wow, this one's like really stinking cute and I love the way it looks, but I don't think it's kind of what I want to go for. I actually didn't feel like doing pinks and blues and purples and pastels this time. I wanted something a little bit more on the dark, regular side of the classic black and white maid outfit, you know what I'm saying? And then I saw some other ones that were like, okay, sure, this could work, or this one. I looked up afterwards men, just like in the Google search bar, maid outfit men, and I got something like this, which was really cool. I personally was like, wow, this one's really interesting. Saw this one, which was funny, but it kind of just looked like the average regular maid outfit. I think his face is absolutely hilarious. This one was particularly interesting. I was like, wow, okay, there's some kind of different element in here, and it's just the fact that they're in a really dynamic pose, and it looks cool, and the outfit looks kind of different to a degree, and I was like, I like that. And I even considered a butler version of the outfit instead of like a Maid Café outfit, but then I was like, no, I want him in a dress. So immediately I was like, never mind that concept. Then I saw this one, and this one was the worst to me. This one was icky for some reason, like it got a gross vibe from it, and I was like, no, ew. So I was like, I'm not gonna bother. It's too Chippendale, and I don't want it. The cuteness is gone, and it just kind of looks, it just looks a little dirty. But like, not even a good dirty. It just looks kind of dirty. I even went back to the butler concept, and it was like, okay, let's see, what if we went like with a classic Sebastian from Black Butler thing going on. But I didn't like that either, even though it was like much more neat and looked cooler, and the outfit design in general was better. I still was like, it's not hitting. So what I did was ask myself, okay, what if I made a maid outfit to my liking? What would it include? It would have to have some kind of these aspects, and I immediately was like, okay, it has to have some kind of turtleneck aspect, because this is a turtleneck channel. We support turtlenecks here in every color and every design possible. Turtleneck lovers here, and that's just how it's gonna go. I did want some kind of frill or lace kind of thing in the classic like white lace, so I thought that would be a cute idea, and I really liked it, so I put it in various elements of his outfit, like on that hat thing, and on the apron with a big bow on the back, which would end up being just like a regular white bow as well. I feel like sometimes the simpler the outfit is when it comes to stuff like this, the better. I also wanted to have them wear kind of like a thigh-high stocking, but also leave kind of like a gap in the middle for where the dress ends and the stocking begins. I feel like, to me, that's cute. It looks cute personally, so that's why I wanted that, because if I'm at a Maid Café, how would I want the Maid Café to dress? Or if I was a Maid Café worker, what would look cool, or what would I like as a uniform? And it obviously depends. Sometimes some workers or employees or restaurants would rather have some kind of dress code, or like more frilly dresses, or more quote-unquote skimpy dresses. I don't know another word besides skimpy. So like, it's the one between the two, and I kind of wanted somewhere in a medium even ground to a degree, so I was like, okay, let's do that. For the shoes, I really think of those really cute, like I think they're called Mary Janes, but like they have like a heart indented on the bottom, which looks like an awesome design. I love that. So I wanted that included in the outfit, which is why I even bothered to do that second pose where he's kind of leaning over a table and you could see him from the behind angle, because I really wanted to show off the bottom part of the outfit, because I just feel like it kind of fits more of the character in there. As for the look of the character themselves, I usually don't go with like a different colored kind of hair, so I usually stay very safe within the brown hair, the black hair, the blonde hair, something like that. But today I wanted something a little bit different, so I went ahead with this really dark blue hair, and I like it because it's something that I usually don't go for, but I also think that it suits kind of like the hair length and the style of the hair that he has on, that it just made sense to me to do. As for eyes, I really wanted to throw in some kind of pink in there just because it's me. And I always have to throw in some kind of pink somewhere, and I felt like the eyes would be the perfect place to put the pink, especially because, again, I don't stray too far with crazy colors with the eyes. Again, I keep in the very neutral, regular tones, unless I'm feeling a little quirky that day, you know. I'm like, "Oh, let's do this color instead." So that's what I was feeling there. I was like, let's do pink. And yeah, so overall, that's kind of what my thought process was behind that. Okay, now we come to the lining. I just want to show you guys how I've destroyed this 0.3 nib for this Copic liner, and I low-key hate myself for it because, like, these are cheap, so, like, my nib is literally sitting inside there, and I'm wondering if there's a way I could take it out, just for the sole fact that I don't want to waste it because it still has ink inside. So I'm kind of upset that I went that heavy-handed. I do have a backup, of course, in case anything, but like I don't want to use that backup. I want to keep using that one because it still works, but of course it ended up biting me in the butt after, because as you can see here, I kind of messed up the line art because there's no nib there, so it's much harder to draw with it, and I end up messing it up a little bit, and I was like, damn, it was going so well. There's always got to be something that messes up, bro. Every time I'm like, yo, this drawing is going great, I love how everything looks, something gotta mess up, bro. It could be the anatomy after I'm done and I'm like, oh, that does not look right, or it's like something in the coloring process and I use a wrong color somewhere and I sit there cursing myself out. Or it ends up being the line art and I'm like, yo, this is just all crazy in every place, or it looks too thick or too thin or blah blah blah. So it's always got to be something somewhere, and it's just to keep me humble. I swear that's what it is. It's just to keep me humble at the end of the day. Like, oh, don't get too excited now. Don't do that. You still go mess up somewhere. So I gotta keep track of that. But otherwise, I'm like, you know what? The way this liner is working right now, I might just have to give up on it. So instead I took out the Tombow, is it the Tombow Fudenosuke? Whatever, it's one of the billion liner brands that they have. It's like a brush pen, but it's like a hard tip brush pen that I used, and I was like, you know what, let's do that. It gives really great line variation and it's really useful. I actually like it, and the color is nice and dark. I suggest that one, if anything, just because when you have a fine liner like Copic that is expensive and you're heavy-handed and you push in really hard, you're gonna end up like me, where it's like that nib is all messed up and you're like, bro, I don't want to use a different one or a new one. So this one, I forgot, let me look up the name. Okay, I was right, it was the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. Yeah, this is a way better option if you're someone like me who is heavy-handed and all that stuff I explained prior. It's also significantly cheaper because it comes in a 2-pack with a soft nib and a hard nib at like $5 when it's on sale to $7. So it's like, it's really an inexpensive good option that gives you a nice look to your artwork. So yeah, highly suggest that. Copic liners, that's a different animal. Not worth it. Sometimes it really isn't. Damn. Also, after being away from lining for so long, I was dumb rusty. I was just straight up messing up at every turn and corner that I had, and it was making me upset because I was like, dang, bro, these are like mistakes that I'm making that I don't want to make on a drawing that I like this much. But sometimes I have to learn not to be so precious with my drawings, and that's my problem. Is I'm very like, this has to be perfect, even though it's a sketchbook and I'm allowed to mess up and I allow myself to mess up. I still would rather not have it happen, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise than that, the last things I had to do for this drawing was basically the white gel pen to give it the highlights, and that was basically it. For the most part, I really loved how the drawing came out. For the character, I have no name for him yet. Maybe I'll give him one later on when I feel like it. But yes, he works at a Maid Café. He's in fact the owner of one. And can you guess his age? Probably not. He's a whole 35 years old. Because I thought that would just make sense for someone who's an owner. They would have to be a little bit older and they're a little bit more experienced in the field. So I just felt like that's a nice change of pace. I usually keep my characters somewhere after, I'm definitely older than 18, number one, but most of the time I steer towards the 21 and up. Rarely ever do I go down to like 18, 19, or 20. It just makes sense to me because I'm a little older, so I like drawing older characters, but I think this is one of the oldest characters that I've done so far at 35, and I really like how he looks. I just personally think that this was one of the better drawings that I've done in a while, just because I let myself kind of go free. Usually for eyebrows, I keep them pretty square and angulared off, but I like how I kind of did individual strands for him here. I felt like that gave him a little bit more personality as well. And I thought in my head, like, what if this was a cafe that kind of liked more of the gothic aesthetic as well, instead of like very cutesy and homey and stuff like that. It's more so on the darker side, and he's very like a casual goth, so I thought that was a cute idea too. Again, I just like creating universes and characters, and sometimes it's just really nice to do without having to think ahead so hard about what the character is and where they are and all that stuff. But overall, I like him a lot, and I really love the way this sketchbook spread came out. He does have big booba, and as per usual, that is my trademark, and I just love everything that I've done for this spread. I want to kind of do more self-indulgent art in the future. I think it's just something that's really nice, and I suggest everyone do it. So yeah, I hope you guys like this spread too. Thanks for watching, and remember, I love you. Bye!